Hi guys, welcome to Sharad's Lunchbox. On today's episode, I've got Rick Antonson. He's the president and CEO of Tourism Vancouver. He's a great friend and a mentor to me. I've known him for many years. Not only does he talk to us about tourism in Vancouver, the Olympics, what happened and what was great, but we also talk to him about his literary background as a writer. He's a great guy, lots to hear from him. Coming up next, Rick Antonson.
Rick Antonson, and I'm the president and CEO of Tourism Vancouver. Tourism Vancouver is the destination marketing organization for Vancouver and a gateway to the rest of the province of British Columbia. I think the anticipation before the Olympics was really mixed. We didn't know quite what our fellow citizens were going to feel about it once we got there. It had been a long run. When the games finally came, it was a result of generations of dreamers, and the vision really is decades old. It's been 50 years that people have thought we should have the Olympics come to this corner of the world, particularly led out of Whistler, where there were two previous bids. And then when this one began about a dozen years ago, it all came together. We found out we were going to have it, and then all of a sudden it's day one and we are hosting the world. So being in the games was exhilarating, I think, for anyone that wanted to be freshly motivated, wanted to wake up and go downtown and see this 11 o'clock at night. The big activity was people watching people watching people. And every resident that wanted to touch the Olympic experience had the chance to do it. And now it's gone. Circus has left town. We're on the other side of it. And so people say, what's next? The world put us under a microscope. The media attention was overwhelming. The number of different countries, the billions of people that saw at least snippets of this place we call home, all of that happened. And so I think now the expectations are quite heightened. I think Vancouverites, British Columbians, indeed Canadians, like the idea of hosting the world. And the world needs great gathering places, and Vancouver has demonstrated its ability to be on the world stage and do what's needed to make sure that people from 100 different countries can all find the foods that they want and the nourishment they want, but also to hear their languages spoken day in, day out on the streets of Vancouver, and to know that the schools are there, that the festivities and everything is here. Vancouver is sort of the world in a city, and it's been a wonderful recognition, not just that around the globe people feel that way, but that we as Vancouverites have maybe now got that collective civic self-confidence that, hey, we belong out there. We're more than a dot on the map. So when we think about where do we go from here, part of it's how do you use this newfound self-confidence of the destination, or how do you take this glowing media view of the place and live up to it? And it may be that it's not about another specific big event like World Cup soccer or a co-hosting a World's Fair with Seattle or something like that. It may be that we're the new Barcelona, and I look at Barcelona, who a destination that twice has hosted the Olympics. But none of us would go there because of that. We'd go there because of what they did. They used the Olympics as a catalyst to become a world city. And I don't know how you define a world city, but we know them when we talk of them. We think of Barcelona or Paris or Hong Kong or London or New York. They're all world cities. So I pose that we're in a position now that done rightly, the next decade could deliver up Vancouver as a world city and up in that echelon. Also, I think it's fair to say that a world city has as a major tenet of its sort of self-assessment a very strong cultural component. And if we can make this a correctly crafted thing, Vancouver is on its way to becoming a world city. Well, it's kind of you to say. I think my job is the best job in town. And given the town it's in, it makes it one of the great jobs around. So you always try to balance that with the other parts of yourself that you can let out or funnel into other things. And part of my background has been book publishing, and to be on the writerly side of it and be able to try and say some things through writing books has become important to me. And to Timbuktu for a Haircut, a journey through West Africa, had really encouraging reviews from all over, and that's nice, because then as the writer that in that case the narrative thread of the journey, which was part of it, worked. But I think what helped with that particular book and what meant a lot to me personally was the opportunity to talk about the old manuscripts that are still in Timbuktu, that are there from the 1300s and the 1400s that are deteriorating, and part of the royalties from the book go towards helping preserve those manuscripts. And the University of Norway has an aggressive program to assist them, and the Timbuktu Educational Foundation is doing some work, and much has begun to happen in recent years. These manuscripts that the History Channel said were in a quantity of like nearly 700,000. These are about astronomy or care for your teeth, dental, optics, eye care. They're about the shooting stars of the night before. They're marginalia that's put in the side of a wedding banquet agenda and the catering list, and then they talk about the dignitaries that showed up. All of these things from a country that is thought of as having a strong, very strong oral tradition. But this shows that in Arab writings and Hebrew writings that in Timbuktu, which was once a center of learning, and more important than the Paris and the Londons of its day, it still has lessons to teach us. I think the world's media right away tipped their hat and said, absolutely, Vancouver, gorgeous destination. And also said, there's something more, there's something deeper than just the blessings of geography and the good fortune to have some attractive architecture and that. And I think it comes down to, in one word, people. And the average Vancouver school has 41 different first languages spoken in it. If you and I were heading out for lunch right now, we could debate which of 30, 40 different ethnic foods we were interested in, and then debate which of the restaurants that serve that would be better to go to, or we want to go to. And I think that in Vancouver we find, no matter where you come from, that here you could be comfortable in finding your religious services, or finding your needs or your cultural needs, or finding books in any language that you want, and that display of acceptance and tolerance. We become a place where people don't let it become sandpaper. There are 216 destinations that there are 216 nations that call this tiny planet their home, and each of us is but a step or two away from someone in each of those countries. It could be family, it may be a friend, it might turn out to be a fellow traveler or somebody going to a conference that we're going to. But tourism, more than any other industry, takes down the barriers to understanding. We're about bringing people together to share ideas, to learn from one another, and to celebrate our differences. And tourism is a vital force for peace, and it behooves each of us to think what we can do individually or collectively to ensure that at some point every leader in the world shares in our view that the freedom to assemble and the right to safe travel are fundamental to each and every person on Earth.